His name lit up on my phone screen like a ghost I thought I buried years ago. Ryan. The man I once loved recklessly. The man who knew parts of me my husband never would. The message was short, just 4 words, but it sent a chill through my body. I still miss you. I was sitting in my kitchen, the soft hum of the dishwasher filling the silence, while my husband, Ethan, played with our little beagle outside. Everything about that evening screamed normal, except my heart. I could not breathe. My fingers trembled as memories I had spent years trying to forget came flooding back, the smell of Ryan's cologne, the taste of danger in his kiss, the wildness of who I used to be. And in that moment, I did something that changed everything. I wrote back. Before I go any further, I want to take a moment to thank every one of you who has subscribed to this channel. Your love, your support, your comments, each one fuels me to keep sharing these raw, real stories that reach deep into the heart. To my new viewers, welcome. I am so glad you are here. And to those who are still thinking about subscribing, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel and the energy that keeps this channel alive. Please remember to share your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading every single one of them. Now, let me take you deeper into the night my past almost took my future. My name is Caroline Hayes. I am 32 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a cozy suburban neighborhood where everyone waves, lawns stay manicured, and the air smells like fresh-cut grass on Saturday mornings. My husband, Ethan, is the kind of man women pray for, gentle, steady, kind. He is a high school English teacher, quiet by nature but full of patience. He has never raised his voice at me, never slammed a door, never made me doubt his loyalty. But sometimes, peace can feel like silence. And silence can start to feel like emptiness when your heart remembers the chaos it used to crave. Before Ethan, there was Ryan Mercer, the storm to Ethan's calm. He was danger wrapped in charm. A motorcycle riding, whiskey drinking, fast-talking man who made me feel alive in all the wrong ways. Our relationship burned bright and violent. It ended the way fire always does, sudden, painful, destructive. When I met Ethan 2 years later, he represented safety. He loved me without conditions. He helped me rebuild the parts of myself I thought were ruined. But deep inside me, a quiet whisper from the past never fully died. That whisper became a roar the night Ryan texted me. It started innocent enough, or at least, that is what I told myself. I replied, "Ryan, you should not be reaching out. I am married now." He responded almost instantly. "I know. I just wanted to see how you are. I never stopped thinking about you." That sentence was the first crack in the wall I had built between my past and my present. I told myself I was only being polite. That it was harmless. That I would delete the messages later. But I did not delete them. Instead, we kept talking. Days turned into weeks. And with every conversation, I felt something shifting inside me. He made me laugh again, something Ethan's quiet nature rarely did. He reminded me of the girl I used to be, the one who took risks, the one who felt desired, wild, and free. And one night, when Ethan fell asleep on the couch after grading papers, I stayed up scrolling through old photos. There we were, Ryan and me, on the beach in California, our bodies tangled, our faces sunlit with joy. I should have deleted that picture years ago, but I did not. I stared at it for too long. A few weeks later, Ryan was in town for work. He said he just wanted to talk, to catch up. I knew it was wrong. Every fiber in my body told me not to go. But the loneliness I had been ignoring for months whispered louder. I told Ethan I was meeting a friend for dinner. My voice shook when I said it, but he believed me. Because that is what good men do, they trust the woman they love. When I saw Ryan at the bar, it felt like time folded in on itself. He looked older, broader, with lines near his eyes that I did not remember. But his smile, God, that smile, was exactly the same. We talked for hours. About life, regrets, what-ifs. He told me he had never found anyone who understood him the way I did. And in the dim golden light of that bar, I started believing him again. When he brushed a strand of hair away from my face, I did not pull back. I should have. But I let him. I let the past touch me, and I felt that spark, the one that had once burned my life to ashes. And then, outside in the rain, I made a mistake that would haunt me forever. Ryan leaned in. My heart raced. I could have turned away. I should have walked away. But instead, I kissed him. It was not just a kiss, it was a door opening, one I swore I had locked years ago. In that single, stolen moment, I betrayed not just my husband, but the peace I had fought so hard to find. When I got home that night, Ethan was asleep. His glasses rested on the nightstand, his book half open on his chest. I stood there watching him, guilt tearing through me like glass. I wanted to wake him, to confess, to beg for forgiveness before the lie had time to harden. But I could not. I crawled into bed beside him, turned my face to the wall, and cried silently until the sun came up. The next morning, he kissed my forehead before leaving for work. His lips were warm and trusting. That broke me more than any punishment ever could. Because I knew I had just become the woman I swore I would never be again. I woke up every morning with guilt sitting heavy on my chest like a stone. I tried to pretend that life was normal, that my sin was just a momentary lapse of judgment that could fade if I ignored it long enough. But the truth does not fade, it festers. Ethan's smile started to feel like a mirror reflecting everything I had broken inside myself. He would hand me my coffee in the mornings with that soft grin that once made me melt, and now all I could think of was how undeserving I was of his kindness. He noticed it, of course. The small shifts. The way I avoided eye contact. The way I turned my phone screen away from him. The way I would go quiet when he spoke about us making plans for the weekend. Ethan was never the jealous type, but he was perceptive. His silence started to stretch longer each day, filled with questions he was too gentle to ask. One evening, as I folded laundry in our bedroom, Ethan stood by the window watching the rain. His voice was soft, almost cautious when he said, "Caroline, are you happy?" I froze. My heart skipped. I wanted to say yes, but my throat locked. The silence between us was louder than thunder. He turned around, his eyes filled with something I had not seen before, uncertainty. That moment shattered me because I realized he was starting to feel the distance my guilt had created. I forced a smile, walked up to him, and hugged him tightly. I whispered, "Of course I am." But deep down, the lie tasted like poison. That night, when he kissed me goodnight, I kept my eyes open. I could not bring myself to close them, because when I did, I saw Ryan's face. The rain, the kiss, the rush of betrayal, all of it replayed behind my eyelids like a cruel film I could not stop watching. A week later, Ryan texted again. "You cannot pretend that night did not mean something." I threw my phone across the bed. My pulse raced. I knew if Ethan saw those messages, he would never look at me the same way again. I typed back, "Please stop. I made a mistake." But Ryan never liked losing. He replied, "Mistake or not, you wanted it. You know you did. I still want you." I deleted the message immediately. I blocked his number, thinking that would be the end. But 2 days later, I received an email, from a private address. Attached to it was a picture of me and Ryan outside the bar that night. The rain blurred our faces, but our closeness told the whole story. My heart dropped. Ryan wrote, "Do not ignore me. You owe me a goodbye at least." That single line made my blood run cold. My past was no longer just haunting me, it was threatening my future. I tried to keep my distance from Ryan, but guilt has a way of making people sloppy. One afternoon, I left my laptop open while I stepped out to get the mail. Ethan was grading papers at the table. When I came back in, the air in the room felt wrong, stiff and heavy. Ethan's face was pale. My stomach twisted when I saw my laptop screen still glowing. My email inbox was open. The picture. The message. Everything. He looked up at me, eyes red. Who is he, Caroline? My knees went weak. My mouth opened, but no words came out. I wanted to explain, but there was no explanation that could justify the truth. Ethan stood slowly, his voice breaking as he said, I trusted you more than anyone in this world. I gave you everything I had. He walked past me, grabbed his car keys, and left without another word. The sound of the door slamming echoed through my chest. That night was the longest of my life. I sat on the living room floor, surrounded by silence so thick I could barely breathe. Every picture of us on the walls felt like a ghost of what we used to be. Days passed. He did not come home. He did not answer my calls. I checked his social media, desperate for a clue. He had packed a small bag and gone to his brother's cabin upstate. For the first time in our marriage, I felt what real emptiness was. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I replayed that night over and over again in my mind, the rain, the kiss, the lie that followed. Ryan texted again. You might as well tell him the truth, Caroline. It is better if he hears it from you. I did not respond. Instead, I stared at my reflection in the mirror until I did not recognize myself. The woman looking back was hollow. Ethan's mother called me one afternoon. Her voice was stern but trembling. Caroline, what did you do? He came here last night. He was broken. That word, broken, hit me harder than anything else. I had not just hurt my husband. I had broken the very man who had loved me at my lowest. A week later, a letter arrived in our mailbox. It was from Ethan. My hands shook as I opened it. Caroline. I have been sitting in silence for days, trying to understand why. I keep asking myself what I did wrong. Maybe I made you feel unseen. Maybe I did not love you the way you needed. But even if that is true, what you did, what we have lost, it feels like something inside me has died. I need time. Do not try to reach me right now. Please use this time to figure out what you want, because I am not sure I can survive another heartbreak. Tears blurred the words. I pressed the paper to my chest and cried until my throat hurt. That night, I drove aimlessly through the city, replaying every memory of our love. Our wedding. Our first apartment. The night he stayed up all night when I was sick, holding my hand as if he could take away my pain. And then, I thought of Ryan, how one reckless choice had cost me the man who truly loved me. I pulled over on the side of the road and screamed. I screamed until my voice broke. I realized I had been chasing the ghost of my past because I never truly forgave myself for who I used to be. I thought Ethan's love could fix that, but I was wrong. Only I could. When I got home, I gathered every reminder of Ryan, pictures, messages, memories, and deleted them all. Not as an act of erasing the past, but as an act of finally burying it. I wanted to fight for my marriage, even if it was too late. As I sat alone in our empty living room that night, I whispered, please, God, do not let this be the end. I spent the following weeks walking through the ruins of the life I had built. Every room in our house felt haunted by what I had destroyed, his laughter, his trust, his quiet presence. Even the scent of his cologne lingered on his side of the bed, a painful reminder of everything I had taken for granted. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped pretending. I stopped running from the truth. For the first time in my adult life, I faced the woman I had become without the excuses, the masks, or the denial. I began therapy. At first, I sat through those sessions in silence. My therapist, a middle-aged woman named Dr. Lillian, had a voice that carried warmth without pity. She asked me simple questions that felt like knives to my soul. Why do you think you responded to that message, Caroline? My answer came slowly, through tears I had been holding for years. Because I never felt good enough for the kind of love Ethan gave me. Ryan reminded me of the woman who did not care who she hurt. The one who felt alive in chaos. I think I missed her because I thought peace meant boredom. Dr. Lillian nodded gently. Peace is not boredom, Caroline. It is safety. You just were not ready to live without the fire yet. That session broke something inside me, but in a good way. It stripped me down to my truth. I realized that I had been running not from love, but from the fear of being truly seen. Ethan had loved me past my shame, and I did not know how to accept that kind of love. I started writing letters to Ethan every night. I never sent them. I just wrote. Dear Ethan. I do not expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know that I am no longer the woman who betrayed you. I am learning to sit in silence without running from it. I am learning that peace can still be passionate, and that love can be both quiet and strong. Writing those letters became my therapy. It helped me breathe again. I would read them aloud, imagining him sitting beside me, listening the way he always did, with patience and without judgment. Months passed. I focused on healing. I went back to church, not because I was looking for religion, but because I needed to believe in redemption again. I needed to believe that God could still rebuild what I had torn apart. It had been 3 months since Ethan left. I was standing outside the grocery store when my phone rang. His name appeared on the screen, and my heart almost stopped. I answered, my voice shaking. Ethan? He was quiet for a few seconds before he said, Caroline, I think we need to talk. That night, I met him at the park where we used to go on long evening walks. He looked thinner, older. His eyes were tired, but they were not angry anymore. We sat on a bench beneath the fading orange sky. I read your letters, he said quietly. I froze. You read them? He nodded. You left one on the counter months ago. I could not stop reading them after that. I saw your pain, your effort, your regret. Tears filled my eyes. Ethan, I am so sorry. I broke something I can never replace. He took a long breath before saying, you are right. What we had before is gone. But maybe something new can grow from what is left. I stared at him, unable to speak. He reached for my hand. His touch felt familiar but fragile, like a bird landing on a branch that might not hold its weight. I am not saying it will be easy, he continued. But I cannot ignore what my heart keeps telling me, that love is not perfect. It survives through brokenness. I broke down crying. That was the first time I had felt his warmth since the night everything fell apart. He pulled me close, and I could feel his heart beating against mine. Ethan did not move back immediately. We took things slow. We started with coffee dates and long drives with no destination. We talked, not about the betrayal, but about the parts of ourselves we lost in our marriage. He confessed that he had been lonely too, that he had sensed my distance long before the affair but did not know how to reach me. I told him that my fear of not being enough had been louder than his love. There were days when he pulled away and nights when he stayed silent. Forgiveness, I learned, was not a switch you could flip, it was a process. One night, after months of trying, Ethan showed up at the door with a small box in his hands. Inside was my wedding ring. I had taken it off the day he left. He said softly, I am ready for you to wear it again. But this time, let it remind you that love is a choice, not just a feeling. I slipped it back on my finger, and something inside me finally exhaled. Our healing did not happen overnight. We had setbacks, triggers, and days when the silence returned. But each time, we faced it together. I stopped living with the fear of losing him and started living with the gratitude of having been given another chance. One Sunday morning, we stood in church, hand in hand. The pastor spoke about grace, how it finds people not when they are perfect, but when they are broken and willing to change. Ethan squeezed my hand. That single gesture said everything. When we got home, we sat on the porch as the sun dipped behind the trees. I turned to him and said, thank you for believing that we were worth saving. He smiled. Love is not about avoiding pain, Caroline. It is about healing through it. I leaned against him, feeling his heartbeat steady and sure. For the first time in a long time, I felt peace, not the fragile kind that can be taken away, but the kind that comes when you finally forgive yourself. Looking back now, I realize that my past was never the enemy, it was the teacher. It showed me that love is not destroyed by mistakes but by the refusal to learn from them. Ethan and I still carry the scars of what happened, but those scars remind us of how far we have come. We are stronger, softer, and more honest than we ever were before. My past almost took my future. But love, real, patient, undeserved love, redeemed it.